वसुदेवसुतं देवं कंसचाणूरमर्दनं देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुम्. The seventh chapter of the Bhagavad Geetā, having 30 verses, is once more such material, such guidance that helps us appreciate God better. Everyone uses the word God, but very few know the glory of God, the significance of that principle called God. Who is God? Where is He? What are His powers? What's His relationship to us? There are many questions. Therefore, we should not take for granted, oh, I know about God, and so on. What do you know about God? As we study the Vedanta carefully, we find that God is outside and inside too. God is the power that makes rivers to flow. God is the power that makes everything happen in this universe. We are able to stay alive, live, sense things, respond to stimuli. All that happens with the power of God. God alone is running this entire show. But do we know that? Some of us may know the words. Some of us may know the quotations of great saints and sages. But is that knowledge intimate? Do we know it as though we have experienced it? Are we feeling that relationship with God? That is the question, and we have said before, the chapters 7 through 12, in other words, the middle 6 chapters in all those 18 chapters of the Gita, are especially to highlight the glory of God. It's not just praise and praise, it is to understand God. And let me say at this point, if we understand God fully, then we do not remain. Where there is God, there is no ego. And where there is ego, we may say we know God, but that is only lip service. We have seen till the last class up to the verse number 6. It is in the verse 6 that Sri Krishna makes the summary statement. The two prakritis, the lower one and the higher one, are comprehensive. They cover the entire creation, the creator. They cover the inert, the sentient, and so on. The sixth verse, therefore, summarily said, Etad yonini bhutani sarvani iti upadharaya. Upadharaya means understand. Please understand that these two, the word etat is part of the compound, so it stands for ete, that is these two, because prakriti is a feminine word. The pronouns corresponding to the two prakritis would combine to make these two. Esha is one prakriti, ete is two prakritis, apara prakriti and para prakriti. These two are the yoni, the source for all living beings, anywhere and everywhere. Etad yonini bhutani. To put it in simpler Sanskrit, it would be Ete dve prakriti, these two prakritis, para and apara, are sarvesham bhutanam yonihi. They are the source, they are the womb, they are the ones from which anything and everything comes out. Sarvesham bhutanam ete dve prakriti moolam bhavataha. And iti upadharaya. Thus understand, O Arjuna, is the meaning. And then it is God Himself who appears as the apara prakriti and the para prakriti, and therefore he brings the first person pronoun in the second half, aham kritsnasya jagataha prabhava pralayastatha. I am the one from whom the entire creation comes. Prabhava is rising, utpatti, janma, and pralaya is the end. Everything merges back in me. Thus, in the 6 verses, Sri Krishna has taken our understanding of God to a very great height already. However, we being what we are, soaked in worldly tendencies, and so much convinced that this world is real. We are so attached to this world, and in that attachment, there is illusion on both the sides of the object and the subject. Let's say we take something to eat, its smell, its taste, its shape, all of them attract us. Really, there is another side to the enjoyment of a delicious piece of food. What is the other side? For the shape and the color and the taste and the smell, etc., of, let us say, a sweet, let's take the example of Mysore pak. I take a square piece of Mysore pak and put it in my mouth. The Mysore pak has many qualities, but I, the enjoyer, also has parts, also has my own conditioning. My tongue, and medical science says to us, this tongue also is so sophisticated. And then when the nerves carry the sensation to the brain, how my brain interprets it. And depending upon whether Mysore pak is totally new to me, or I have eaten it a couple of times, or I have been eating it from childhood and I am very attached to it. Now, this attachment to Mysore pak doesn't reside in the Mysore pak. The attachment is in my mind. The taste for it is in my tongue. Therefore, my body, my senses, my mind, my programming, my conditioning over many years of my life, how I have thought over Mysore pak, psychological dimension. For every physical dimension, there is also a psychological dimension. If one person thinks a lot about certain place, certain object, and another person who also has gone to that object or has met with that object but does not think much about it, then psychologically there is a difference. So we call this whole side of me, the experiencer, the subject. We call the object, the experienced, the second domain. And Advaita Vedanta says, underlying both the object and the subject, underlying both what is experienced and what is experiencing or who is experiencing, between both bhojya and bhokta, between both or beneath both drishya and drashta, or shravya and shrota. Every experience has the object experienced and the one subject to experiences. This pair of subject-object is not the ultimate truth. The ultimate truth lies beneath and within the subject and the object. When the rishis realize the pure self, they know that truth which never subsides. The subject and object rise and subside. Therefore, Ramana Maharshi in his Saddarshanam says, Dhi is the mind, and Loka, the world that the mind notices. These two rise and fall together, and there is a truth where neither the subject, the Dhi or the Buddhi, nor the object, the Loka, are anymore. Without them, at the same time, that truth is the basis in which Dhi and Loka both arise and subside. Do we ever think of anything that is the source of both the subject and object? Moment we wake up in the morning, our senses are active, our mind is operating, we begin to think about objects. Some begin to think about money, some begin to think about food, some begin to think about some problem to be solved. In no time, within couple of seconds after we wake up, we are totally caught in subject and object, object and subject. But Vedanta asks us, lift your mind to a greater height and see that Sat-Chit, that existence consciousness principle that you are, and when you realize that, this apparently real world and the apparently real experiencer, both of them slowly go to the background. They lose their importance. They lose their significance. They lose their mahatva. That is how it is. For enlightened people, God is real and the world is just an appearance. For unenlightened people, the world is real and God is a philosophical proposition. They are not very sure whether God exists at all. And a wide range of confusions mark the seekers who are on the path. Aham kritsnasya jagatah prabhava pralayasthatha. Following this, Bhagavan Sri Krishna gives 6 verses. One of them is introducing the topic, how he is behind everything. Anything that looks wonderful, anything that looks beautiful, anything which we adore, we look at with awe. All of them have God supporting them. He introduces how God is the support for all the glories of this universe. And then in the 6th verse, he summarizes the same. Between the 1st and the 6th of the set of 6, you have 4 verses which take particular instances, which take particular locations, particular domains or areas, saying, I am the essence here, I am the essence there too, I am the supporting principle over there too. One by one he takes. But the first one, which we'll pick up now, verse number 7, 7.7, 7.7. You may call this verse the verse 7 up. There's a drink called 7 up, I guess. Or is it down now? I think it's still running. 7 up. Like Coke and like Pepsi, there is also 7 up. So 7.7 is the 7 up verse of Bhagavad Geetā. And let's read this. Please, those of you who are here may repeat in front of me offline. Matta parataram nanyat
परतरम नान्यतर.
So let's see the verse 7. It has a certain poetic beauty also. Sutre Manigana Iva. Like pearls. Money can mean any precious stone. Precious stones make a necklace, and in order that they make a necklace, the precious stones are strung upon a thread. The thread is not visible. People see the precious stones. But if the thread were not to be there, all the precious stones will fall off. Sutra means the thread. And Mani Ganaha. Ganaha is sets or groups or bunches. That means many pearls, many diamonds, or many rubies, or whatever other precious stones. They are strung upon a thread. Sutre maniganaha stitaha. Sutre maniganaha iva. The word used by Sri Krishna is krotam. Krota also means strung. Either in some ways the thread supports them all. So that is the illustration. That is the drishtanta that Sri Krishna gives. For what? What is he conveying? He is saying there is nothing in this entire creation which is higher than me. Parataram. Parataram na anyad asti. I am the highest truth. The higher truth may not be visible to gross minds. To see the higher, our mind also has to go higher. Most people cannot see what is higher. Small-minded people, petty-minded people are unable to see any greater purpose in life. Generally, everybody begins with the objective. Eat well, drink well, sleep well, enjoy life. But life is way beyond eating and drinking. Life is way beyond the basic comforts of food, shelter, and clothes. We no doubt need food, shelter, and clothes. But it is utterly foolish to imagine that once I have food guaranteed, clothes guaranteed, once I have a proper shelter, there is no other problem in life. That is not at all true. With all food, shelter, and clothes, the problems begin there only. And the wise people say the real problem is in human relationships. When two people, three people, or five people live together, if they disagree on everything, they yell at each other, or they don't talk to each other, they don't respond to each other, they don't express love and care to each other, then life becomes hell. Even if the best of food is given, best of clothes are available, and a wonderful palatial house is made available, which at one time was our goal. Once I have a big house of my own and all that, we dream. But when all of that is with us, the real life shows up. The real challenges begin there only. And then there is also the issue of health. You may have, Swami Chinmayananda used to say, serve on a large silver plate a meal with 54 varieties, all made in the highest quality. But imagine the person who has to eat that meal has loose motion and no taste in the mouth and other problems, health problems. What will he do? There are many rich people in this world who cannot eat anything They take a couple of pills and then just a little food so that they remain alive. What is the benefit of having access to food? Anyway, this I said to explain what is higher and what is lower. In our immaturity, food, clothes, and shelter appear to be the higher. But as we become mature, we ensure that basic necessities are provided to us. That's not the wisdom doesn't mean you ignore or you neglect your basic requirements, but our eyes are set on higher things. Obsession with mere food, clothes, shelter, etc. is a great materialistic foolishness. In Yoga Shastra, it is said somebody's Kundalini, suppose he is at the lowest chakra. There are 6 plus 1, 7 chakras, Mooladhara, Swadhisthana, etc. All the way up to Sahasrara. If somebody's Kundalini is at the lowest Mooladhara, and that person will be all the time interested in just food and pleasure and sleep and enjoyments and so on. He or she does not see anything higher. And he or she also suffers in the process, and others also suffer because of him or her. Therefore, in Yoga Shastra, especially in Kundalini Yoga, it is said all spiritual growth is nothing but the Kundalini rising from Mooladhara to Swadhisthana, and then there are chakras, Anahata, some Manipura, some Vishuddha. So finally, Sahasrara. So the most illumined ones have their Kundalini operating from the Sahasrara, and then it goes out, the person gets liberated. So all this high and low, the hidden and the obvious is talked about because Sri Krishna says, I am the Paratama, I am the Supreme One. There are many verses in the Bhagavad Geetā where Sri Krishna says, I am way above everything else, all are below, and so on. So in the Dvaita Siddhanta, they take that very seriously and they stop there. The Advaita ventures further and then discovers the unity of God and man. But this expression parataram, there is nothing higher than me. In one of the summary shlokas of Dvaita Siddhanta of Madhvacharya, this gets echoed. This shloka was written by some Acharya later, but he says in the Madhva philosophy, Sriman Madhvamate Hari Parataraha. See, the word Paratara is in the shloka. Hari, Mahavishnu, he is the supreme, and this world is real, and such pramanas are valid, means of knowledge, and such sadhanas are prescribed, and such is the view of mukti in the Madhva Siddhanta. So, what is mukti in Madhva Siddhanta? What is, um, let's say, sadhana in the Madhva Siddhanta? And what is the view about things and beings? They believe in Sri Madhvacharya's Dvaita Siddhanta, they believe that always there is a taratamya. Taratamya means taratama. Tara is comparative degree, tama is superlative degree. Good, better, best. High, higher, highest. Once they asked somebody in Chennai, what is the comparative and superlative degree of high? Everybody says high, higher, highest. But I believe that man said high, higher, and Iyengar. Sometimes in Tamil Nadu, some of them don't pronounce her fully. I. It's very I. I, Iyer, and Iyengar, they said. Nobody would have said it, or somebody would have said it for a joke. or somebody must have created that joke. Olden days, there were a lot of Iyengar and Iyengars in IIT in the faculty. In olden days, now everybody is there. Olden days also there were people from all backgrounds, even Christians and Muslims. But relatively, there were some Iyengars and Iyengars in the head of department of practically every department. So then there also they joked. You know what is IIT? Iyer Iyengar technology. It's just to pull somebody's leg, that's all. It's not fully true, but during certain times, maybe larger number, and so on. That is so as a universal phenomenon in different parts of the world, different communities for certain duration control something. For example, it is believed, some of you may have no more knowledge on it, that American economy is very much controlled by the Jewish people. Many financial institutions, many banks, etc., have in high positions Jewish people. And therefore, if Biden shows certain partiality towards the Jewish people, Biden in the present crisis between Israel and Hamas, if Biden is showing certain degree of support, not very full, not very explicit, but explicit, you know, there is more to the matter than just who is right, who is wrong. In addition to who is right, who is wrong, the politicians have to weigh various options. If I support the Hamas, if I stand for Palestinians and go very hard on Jewish people, what will be the implications to my country? And if I side with the Jewish people and I'm very hard and strict and to some extent indifferent, let us say, on the Palestinians, what do we lose? What do we gain? These factors come up. All right. So let's leave Iyers and Iyengars behind. Let's leave everything and come back to this beautiful work given neither by an Iyer nor by an Iyengar. This is given by a Kshatriya, Mahavishnu, born as a Yadava, to be more precise. Rama was a Kshatriya and Sri Krishna was a Yadava, a cowherd. And he then teaches the entire universe. He becomes Jagat Guru. Krishnam Vande Jagat Gurum. Mai Sarvam Idam Proktam. Everything is strung upon me. Everything is held in place by me. Adi Shankara explains this. Yataha tasmat mattaha parameshwarat. I am Parameshwara. The word Ishvara in the Vedanta means God. In certain cultures, certain languages, I guess in Kannada, Telugu, etc., a lot of places, if you say Ishvara, it's an Ishvara temple, they take it as Shiva temple. I don't know about Punjabi or Gujarati and other places. But in Karnataka, if you say, in our village, we have a Ishvara temple. They are immediately understood as, is it so in Tamil Nadu also? No. You are Bombay people. So Bombay people they have their own culture. Anyway, Parameshwara here doesn't mean Shiva. Interestingly, Brahma Kumaris have a concept of Shiva, which is different from Shiva of regular Sanatana Dharma. And they have their own interpretation of Bhagavad Geetā also. And they pick on some verses where Sri Krishna has said, Ishvara Sarva Bhutanam Hriddeshe Arjuna Tishtat. That they take and say, you see, Krishna has admitted here, standing aside, he says, God dwells in everybody's heart. If you, Shiva Baba. So they say Krishna has admitted that he is not God and there is another God who is called Ishvaraha. Ishvaraha Sarva Bhutanam Hriddeshe Arjuna Tishtati. God is Ishvara, the ruler, and I am talking about him, which means I am not God. All some convenient interpretations. What will they say about this verse? Mattas parataram nanyat kinchidasti dhananjaya. They say they are all to be put aside. So they will take couple of verses which are convenient to them. That is what everybody does in this world. Everybody goes by what is called Anukula Sindhu. They interpret every law, every kanun, every rule as is convenient to them. That is a human tendency, that is selfishness present in individuals and in institutions too. Adi Shankara uses the word Parameshwara not to mean Shiva, but Sri Krishna, the God principle. And in the Advaita Vedanta, that one God principle expresses as Shiva or Vishnu or Devi or Ganesha. It is said Shankaracharya instituted a system called Pancha. What is that called? Panchayatana. 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 There you have Shiva and Vishnu, Devi and Ganesha and Surya. These five are the Panchayatanas. And he advised people, have all these five in your house, but let one of them be your Ishta Devata. So if one of you chooses Ganesha to be your Ishta Devata, the chosen form of God, Ganesha can be in the center or in the front, and Ganesha's idol can be made bigger. Ganesha is given more importance. But you please have Shiva and Vishnu, Devi and Surya also. That is the advice. Anyway, the word Parameshwara here is supreme ruler. Higher than me, the supreme ruler, there exists nothing. Karanantaram kinchit nasti na vidyate. Ahameva jagat karanam. Sri Krishna says, I am the cause of the entire creation. Hey Dhananjaya, oh earner of great wealth, Dhanam Jayati, Dhanam Sampadayati. Iti. Swami Chinmayananda used to say Arjuna was Dhananjaya because he frequently went on tour, conquered many other kings. He would go out and other kings then had to bow down. He was a great warrior. And then Swamiji would add, in those days, Arjuna brought a lot of foreign exchange to his country. One who brought a lot of foreign exchange reserves. Such words are used. I don't know much about them. But Dhananjaya. Yasmadevam, because things are in this way, Tasmat, Mai Parameshware Sarvamidam Jagat Protam Anusyutam Anugatam Gratitham. Sometimes Bhashyakara gives multiple synonyms. The word that has come in the shloka is protam, which translated it as strung. And he says what it means is anusyutam, running through the entire creation. Anugatam, found everywhere. Go anywhere, you will find Brahma only. Gratitham, you take flowers and then string them together. Flowers are also strung together, it becomes a garland. And if it is articles that you write, essays, you string them together, that becomes a book. Therefore, book is called Grantha. Gratitam, Gratnati leads to the noun Grantha. And if it is flowers which are put together, that is Mala. In Mumbai, there is a very nice bookshop in Santa Cruz. The bookshop's name is Granth. I suspect that name is inspired by the Granth Sahib of the Sikh religion, which is a holy book. Or maybe the owners named it going by the general word book. Grantha means book. But at some places, moment you say Granth, they'll say Granth Sahib. Say it in a respectful manner. And Granth Sahib is the most revered one in Sikhism. After 10 gurus, they decided no more gurus. Guru Arjun Dev was the 10th. And the Guru Parampara ended there. No more gurus in Sikhism. Then whom do we bow down before? Bow down before the holy book itself. So you go to Gurudwaras, the holy book is kept. And they fan the holy book. They do whatever simple form of puja of the holy book. And then there are Sindhis, where we are sitting is an ashram or a facility for spiritual programs built by Sindhis. And you go to some Sindhi place of worship, they will have Granth Sahib also and Rama, Krishna, Shiva, all others. In Solan, where I lived, there was a very beautiful ashram. Nij Tav, Nij Gun Tav, Nij Tav, I think. Nij Tav is your own house, Apna Gar, Apna Swarup. And there it was like that. It was a very pretty place in Solan. And you go into the main hall, there is Bhagavad Geetā, and other side there is Guru Granth Sahib. Because the Sindhi community, because that was next only to Punjab, to the west of Punjab, southwest you can say, they respected and now also they respect. In Sindhi houses, they respect Sanatan Dharma also, they respect Sikhism also. Anyway, all this came Gratnati or Gratitam Dirgatantushu Patavat Sutrecha Manigana Iva. Sri Krishna himself gave the analogy precious stones strung upon a thread. And Shankaracharya provides another analogy how a cloth is made out of threads. Threads going back and forth, vertically or horizontally in some pattern. And in English, they sometimes call those the warp and woof. Warp and woof are those crisscrossing threads. And to describe idiomatically something that actually makes an object, they say this is the warp and woof of that whole thing. That is, that whole thing is made of these threads or some raw material or some components in whatever gross or subtle sense. Shankaracharya says, Dirga Tantushu Patavat. If you were to take away the Tantu, Tantu means the threads, the Pata doesn't remain anymore. Dirga Tantushu Patavat. Sutre Manigana. The threads support the cloth and Manigana also, the thread supports the precious stones. In this way, there is God in everything. And therefore, he now gives to us 4 shlokas where some specific domains are mentioned. Let's go to the next shloka. At least let's see the direct meaning. Adi Shankara, Bhagavan Bhāshyakara, connects us to the next shloka saying, Kena kena dharmena vishishte tvai sarvamidam protam iti. Kena kena dharmena vishishte tvai. In you, all these are supported. Fine. How are all these supported? By what qualities of yours? Or when you are expressing in a certain way, you seem to support something. Expressing some other dharma of yours, you support something else. I would like to know the details. Kena kena dharmena vishishte tvai sarvamidam protam. And that is answered in the example itself. So you have, these are also very poetic. We'll see the shloka and word meaning. Raso hamapsu kaunteya प्रभास्मि शशि सूर्ययोः प्रणवः सर्ववेदेषु शब्दखे पौरुषं नृषु रसोऽहमप्सु कौन्तेय प्रभास्मि शशि सूर्ययोः प्रणवः सर्ववेदेषु शब्दखे पौरुषं नृषु. If the earlier verse 7.7 was called 7-Up, a popular drink, this verse can be called, Cadbury's has one brand, 5 star. This is a 5-star shloka. I am not advising you to eat 5-star with 7-Up as a drink. I have stopped both of them. So, even those who don't have diabetes are advised not to take sweets, not to take 7-Up and those which also have a lot of sugar. So the white sugar especially has been regarded quite dangerous by all nutritionists. But doctors and pharmaceutical companies are very kind and caring and understanding. Eat as much as you want. Doctors and allopathic doctors and pharmaceutical lobbies say, oh, don't worry, eat anything you like. We are here to take care of you. We have built a new hospital, did you not notice, with all modern machines. So we are very kind people. Those nutritionists are very cruel, unkind people. Like I told you, I met a nutritionist in Chicago, a young Maharashtrian lady, and she said to me, if somebody presents you a long bar of chocolate, however delicious and however expensive, it might have come from Switzerland, neither you should eat it nor should you give it to any children. And what do I do with it? Throw it to the trash can, she said. Swamiji, sorry to tell you, throw it to the trash can. If I go next time to Chicago and I get some long bar of, I will not throw it to trash can. When she comes to visit me, I'll present it to her. Anyway, I don't know what I mean by it. This rasaha aham apsu. In water, there is that quality. Rasa means taste. In water, there is a certain quality. And then, because presence of water in anything we eat, the tongue is able to enjoy it. If something were to be totally dry, nor does our tongue bring out saliva. Neither what we eat has any water, nor our mouth brings out saliva, which is watery. Then how will you enjoy? So that's the simple logic. We'll see more later. And I am the light in sun and moon. I am Om, Omkara in the Vedas. I am sound in the space. And in men, I am manliness. Drishu, Paurusham. So this is quite poetic. We will see the 4 verses. And at the end, he will say, wherever you see glory, that is mine. That's the end of the chapter. But at the end of this set of 6 also, he says, whatever is sattvic, rajasic or tamasic, arise from me only. They arise from me and then they go back to me. I am the source of everything. Prabhavaha pralayasthatha. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.